Hello, this is Ryan Reisert, your host. This is going to be a very different podcast series than anything you've experienced on the market. What I'm trying to do is change things up a little bit. Rather than having a special guest and one topic with great conversation that goes away, we're going to host a series of experts and others who have perspective on different topics over a period of time. Gather that in a series of episodes and roll that out until we've really exhausted a topic. So hopefully you enjoy this podcast, and thanks again for listening in.
All right, really excited to have the conversation today with Dan. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure, Dan Cilley. I'm the co-founder of Vendor Neutral, CEO of Vendor Neutral. We help large enterprise organizations, actually buyers at all levels, simplify their sales tech selection process.
Oh, fantastic. Well, I know you're going to have some really good feedback on some of the conversations when we talk about tools today. But again, really the goal of today is to talk about this rise of the coaching culture. We hear it all over the place, or revenue intelligence, which is on the technology side. And really curious to hear, do you believe in this? You know, you hear a lot of people talking about culture, but do you believe in this movement?
No, it's absolutely a movement. It's a movement for constant improvement, right? So it's about efficiency and effectiveness and how quickly you can achieve your goals and objectives. And technology is absolutely leading the way. It's there are a number of pieces of resources out there, you know, especially supporting the sales enablement activities within organizations, you know, connecting the dots between sales and marketing, you know, enabling a customer to self-serve as well. So absolutely, the revenue enablement, or rev tech, like we like to call it, is absolutely taking off.
So you're speaking it in the vein of technology, and that's a big part of this, because we create these segments or verticals because of technology, but it also starts a conversation around like, hey, are we missing out on something? And so obviously if this is starting, why do you believe the movement is starting to catch fire, at least in tech? Is it because there's now software there, or is there something else that might be initiating this in today's environment?
I believe it's the insights. So I believe it's the awareness that the artificial intelligence associated with revenue technology is providing. So it's surfacing coaching opportunities. It's providing an opportunity for a manager to use products like conversation intelligence tools where they can, listen to the calls, pull out talk tracks, pull out next steps, pull out when certain terminology is used. Very effective resources. And I feel that the technology is surfacing so much more than we could have in the past, just by simply recording a phone call.
So do you think it's becoming more of a thing only because the technology enables it? Or is there also kind of a growing need in terms of the kind of coaching and development of our people? Because I think that's the other side of this coin. And I'm really curious to really think about your take on this around when we think about a culture, right? People then say, well, we have the tool, but how does that work in terms of actually making that happen? What does that look like? I know, at your company, you guys don't necessarily have a massive workforce, but maybe what you've seen at other companies or how you're seeing it being adopted. What does that really mean? And what's the why behind that?
Well, I feel like the culture is, again, we're looking at a lot of millennials now coming into the workforce, and millennials are eager to learn, self-educate, self-develop. They're competitive with their peers, and I believe that their willingness to work with their management team, work with their peers to self-develop utilizing these resources, whether it's insights from marketing, marketing qualified leads are now being surfaced into sales technology through a number of different resources. I really believe that it's becoming a culture where they may not have the longevity in many of these organizations. They may have a short period or a short-term employment with a lot of these organizations, but the fact is that they bring a lot of value while they're there. And because of that, they're now bringing a lot of awareness to. Can we stop that? I absolutely just totally messed it up.
Right, we'll see if we can edit it out, but it's not a big deal. This is just a conversation, Dan. I mean, it's fine. So Just getting back into, what is that looking like today, and why are we seeing this change? Is it just because of the technology, or is there a cultural shift? And I think you're in it right now, right? Like there's
Yeah.
not really a need to edit this out, because I think this is a really important conversation, because I think especially millennials, I'm a millennial, I'm elder millennial, but millennials get a bad rap around hard-headed and things like that.
Right.
But at the same time, there is now the ability to take not just the emotional side of developing folks, right, but now the objective data-driven side of things in a way that can actually allow folks who historically have had more